If money affects your life in any way, Money Making Sense will talk about it. Be financially healthy, wealthy, and wise. Here's your host, Heather Kelly.
Welcome to Money Making Sense, the show that talks about all things money. Today I'm at Sundance Film Festival and I'm interviewing filmmaker Loren Waters, and you bring to the festival a short documentary called Tiger.
Yes, we're really excited to have the film here at the festival this year. It's my first one.
Well, I remember the Tiger t-shirts, which this is what the film is about, but I remember that in the 80s.
Really?
I do. I didn't have one, but I know a lot of my friends did, and so when I started watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember those t-shirts.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. And yeah, it's awesome.
So I was surprised that, first of all, in the film, I didn't know that the entire thing was family run.
It is, yeah. And one of the interesting things that we don't show in the film is that her mom had to act like the secretary, in that there was a man in the back that was too busy to talk whenever she was doing sales with like JCPenney and all of these other businesses, because it was just a different time back then. So it was Dana's mom that was running the whole business.
Yeah, so for people who can't get to Sundance and see the film, it's only about 12 minutes long. But it's the setup, it just looks like a small-ish warehouse. I mean, it's not a great big huge, like industrial size warehouse. It's very small. And there were, what, 5 people doing the t-shirts?
Yeah, they were doing them, on a 24-hour shift cycle. So they had people doing them overnight, then doing the night shift or the day shift, screen printing, packaging them up, because they were having so many orders they had to keep up with, and it's a warehouse. I mean, it wasn't big. It was all family run, like 6 people back there doing the work and getting all those t-shirts out worldwide. It was really impressive, like when you look back at all of the pictures and the success that they were having at the time.
Right. Well, I don't want to spoil too much of the film for those who are going to get to see this, but I'm very curious. I know that the pictures were inspired by the husband,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
the father,
mm-hmm. Of Dana, yeah.
Dana, but how do you go from I want to have these pictures on a t-shirt to actually getting into JCPenney? I mean, that seems like a stretch.
I know. I'm not sure like exactly how they did it, but that was why Dana's mom had to change some things, because they weren't as successful in the beginning, even though she knew that this artwork was powerful, that her uncle, or it was her husband after he passed, it was his brother's art that is screen printed on all the shirts back then. So she knew that, people would want this. And so after it got into JCPenney, they were they were like one of the most successful minority businesses at that time. They got an award for it and everything. So, yeah.
One thing I didn't see in the film is, where were they stationed? Where are they located?
They're located in Muskogee, Oklahoma. So it's a very random place. It's about 45 minutes southeast of Tulsa.
Okay, and they're Native American?
Yeah. The family is Muskogee Creek and Cherokee. So that's something that I really like about the film, is that although Dana, is Native, it's not really something that we talk about. It's just more about a human experience.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it just is.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, oh, look at this Native American who made good.
Yeah.
That's not it. But it felt a lot like I haven't seen the t-shirts for sale for decades now. But there's a push to start the business up again?
Yeah, definitely. So, some things happened in Dana's family, and she went through a lot of loss and grief, and so her brother was murdered in 1990, which stopped everything for the business. Imagine being so successful, and then your head silk screener gets murdered, who's your brother. How do you move forward from that? So her mom couldn't work in the gallery anymore. she, Dana was painting at that time. She wasn't so involved in the screen printing process, but she was there and saw it all happen. So they kind of took a hiatus. They still sold prints and all of their artwork in different ways, but the shirts definitely took a pause. So in my community, I live in Tulsa, those shirts were like, we would buy them, my friends would buy them off of people's backs whenever they would see them because they were vintage, and you recognize it, you spot it in a crowd, and I need that one because, there's all these different paintings that are on the front that are unique, and probably her brother screen printed those.
Wow. Well, I do say in the film, it says Dana's dad was like the greatest artist in the world. But there was barely any mention about that. Mm-hmm. So who was he?
Yeah.
Like, where did all this art come from, and what makes him the greatest artist in the world?
His name's Jerome Tiger, and he is a sculptor and painter, and he died when he was in his 20s. So by the time he was 26, he had already made so many paintings and sculptures and things that by the time he died, he had already left behind all of this artwork. And I'm like, I'm 29, and what do I have to leave behind? Definitely not life's work of all this art. So that's really impressive, and his style of art really inspired so many indigenous artists after him, and so that's why a lot of Muskogee Creek artists and Native artists look up to him and his artwork. And Dana inherited that skill set and is a painter as well, also her uncle, and so that's why it kind of gets a little confusing, because we're like, okay, whose painting is this? Who did this? Because Chris also painted, so they were just a family of artists.
Wow. And how did you get involved, Lauren?
I met Dana whenever I was working as a background casting director on Reservation Dogs, and Dana was in the show, and we just became really good friends, and I went to the gallery to help her clean it up, and was learning a little bit more about her story, and I was like, Dana, how's nobody done a film about you yet? But I guess it was because I was supposed to be the one to do that with her. And whenever my partner and I, cinematographer Robert Hunter, went out with a camera for the first time, it was the first day that they were screen printing shirts since 1990, and I had no idea. Like, we showed up with the camera and they were like, hey, we're gonna screen print shirts today, and we were just like, wow, this is incredible. So they've revitalized it, maybe not to the extent that it was back in the 80s, but they are using the same machines, and they've gotten new screens made, but it's all the same designs that they did before.
And who are you marketing this to now?
I mean, we're trying to have this film kind of amplify, that her art is available online at tigerartgallery.com, but also, our community are big supporters of her art, and that's kind of who the film is for, and we just want to make sure that art can be shared as widely as possible.
Because it's the shopping scene is just so much different. I mean, JCPenney pretty much doesn't exist anymore, so that would be hard to sell to again. But you do have that online avenue. I mean, there's Etsy, and I mean, that's fallen off. But I mean, there's just different marketplaces now. Is that where the product you're trying to, or that Dana and her family are trying to get it placed to now? Yeah,
it's super independent. She sells, she has a big following on Facebook. She has an Instagram, mainly sells it off her page, and then in person. She does a lot of in-person art shows, so goes around to all these art galleries and sells the shirts, and we even brought shirts with us to Sundance to sell. So nice. Yeah, we'll definitely get some good sales here, and just wherever she can.
And how much are these shirts selling for online and at Sundance? You can mark it up at Sundance,
Well, we got the poster image custom printed on Comfort Colors shirts, so they're the nicer ones. It's actually this design. Those are selling for $50, so it is a little bit higher price. But for her, the other ones that they screen print, her uncle's designs. His name is Johnny Tiger Jr. Those ones, I believe, she sells online for $35. Yeah, so those are a little bit cheaper price point.
So if people are interested, they can find them and.
Absolutely. Yes, you can go online. They're selling, I think, 3 designs of the original Jerome Tiger art online. Yeah.
And then if people can't get to Sundance to see this film, do you have it placed with anybody yet? Is it going out worldwide?
Not yet, and that's what we're hoping, that we can get some interest here at the festival. I think film is a really powerful tool to get stories out there, but also help amplify, with this story at least, Dana's business. And that's a big part of my impact campaign with this, is like, how do we make sure that there is money funneling from the audience into Dana's art gallery, because they need support and they need that to continue. So we're just trying to make sure that we're activating in every way that we can. The film will be at South by Southwest as well in March, and we'll see how it goes on the festival run, but unfortunately no online opportunities quite yet.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want the audience to know about?
I just am grateful to be here, and if we have any young filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers out there, I say just make your project, and even if you may not have the money to do it, because this project was totally self-funded and inspired by someone in my community, and it's definitely possible to achieve those dreams. This is definitely one of mine.
All right. Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening. You can email me with any questions or topics you want to hear about at hkelly@ksl.com. That's HKELLY@ksl.com. And because this is Money Making Sense, you can subscribe for free on Spotify, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast, and you'll never miss another episode.
Thanks for being a Money Making Sense listener. Follow your common sense on social media. Money Making Sense on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.